Hello and welcome back to another video. Now, as we wait for the Premier League to return, now that the World Cup is finally over and we're all doing our Game Week 17 teams, I figured I'll do something a bit different here and do a squad of players so far this season have been damn right awful for us. Now, these players I've picked are players definitely in Game Week 1 we would all consider putting into our team, and this season they haven't really performed at all. So my first player on this list is Edouard Mendy of Chelsea. Now, it's no surprise that he's on this list, but at the start of the season, when the prices came out and we saw he was just 5 million, we all thought, wow, great value for money. Chelsea's number one is just 5 million, easy. First game of season, clean sheet, Everton. Yeah, easy, this is going to be a piece of cake. Goalkeeper sorted. Well, that hasn't been the case since. He hasn't had a clean sheet since then. He's no longer the number one goalkeeper. I mean, at the start of the season, he was unfortunate because Chelsea were that bad. He was getting so many shots at him. He was getting bonus points for save points. But he's out of favour now. He's not in the team. He's dropping in value. Will he be number one now after the World Cup he's had? I don't think so. I think Potter wants somebody who can pass the ball. I don't think Mendy's great on his feet. I think he's made too many errors for Potter to go, you're going to be my number one. That's it now. I think it's over for him for a while. Definitely for this season. So I definitely think Mendy has been very disappointing this season. Now my second goalkeeper I've gone for it is Robin Olsen. And if I'm being honest, I feel bad for the guy because he's only played one game really, hasn't he? But when you look at all the other goalkeepers that have played in the league, they've done alright to be fair to them. So I couldn't really pick anybody else. I did think about going for Iverson because when Danny Ward was going for that horrible, horrible spell, we all thought Iverson was going to come in to replace him. So a lot of us brought him in. Didn't happen, so I could have put him in just for that. But the fact is, Robin Olsen, he came on when Martinez got concussed and he had pretty much a stinker, gave away a penalty, and in the end he ended up with a -1, and that's all he's had this season. So if you've had him, you've lost a point from the start of the season, for example. So bit harsh on the guy, but he's the only goalkeeper in the Premier League so far this season who's on -points. So it just felt right to put him in as the second goalkeeper. On to my defenders now. The first guy I've gone for, I mean, everybody's going to agree with this surely. Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's had an absolute stinker. Liverpool in general have an absolute stinker. Specifically their defenders. In the midfield ain't been great either. And the strikers, yeah. So the whole team's been pretty bad really. You look at that. 16 games he's played. Now, not all these 90 minutes to be fair. But there have been games where he's actually been subbed off by Klopp. Which is a surprise in itself. And then obviously he came back from injury and he only played out a couple of minutes in a couple of games. So maybe that 16 games played is a bit harsh on him. But even then, 2 clean sheets. That's awful. And only, I mean, 1 goal I'll give him. But just 1 assist for his delivery. I mean, that's shocking really. Is that him or is that the strikers just not scoring? I don't know. In total though, he's got 40 points, right? That don't look too bad. But if you take the 17 points which he got from the Bournemouth game, the guy's on 23 points. And when he started off at 7.5 mil, you pay 7.5 mil and you've only had 23 points, for example, and you had him on the bench for the Bournemouth game, you'd be vexed. You'd be fuming about it. So yeah, he's had a terrible start to the season. Hopefully he picks it up because I'm thinking about having him in my team in the future. Yeah, so far, him and Liverpool in general had a bad season so far. I think he can obviously change it around, but for now, start of the season has been awful. So next up, I've gone for Reece James of Chelsea. Now, he's been a bit unfortunate because he's been injured for a while. And obviously, at the start of the season, he was right centre back, then he went to right wing back, then right centre back most of the time. Then he got, what was he, got a knock, played Champions League, then he's been out since. So he's been a bit unfortunate there, but you have to look at it. You've played 7 games for Chelsea. You're going to expect clean sheets. At least 3, maybe 4 clean sheets. To only have 1, that proves how bad Chelsea were at the start of the season. He's got the goal, he's got the assist. Yes, that's good. I mean, that's took his average up just under 4 points a game. But overall, hopefully when he comes back, um, Potter will play him right wing back. But I'm not 100% certain he probably will. He says he could be fit for the Boxing Day game, but honestly, I've not even thought about bringing him into my team. I think I need to see how it goes. Because when Reece James is on it, he's on it. I think he's England's anyway best right back. So until he gets on it, I'd avoid him. But yeah, he's not had a great start to the season. Hopefully the injuries have ended for him. Next up, I've gone for Ivan Perisic, another guy people might be surprised about seeing here. I mean, you look at that, 45 points, that doesn't look too bad, especially when you compare it to like Reece James and that. And he hasn't had a price drop. The guy has earned, 5 bonus points, he's had 4 assists. They look pretty good to be fair. But you work it out, the guy's on average got just under 3 points a game. And the hype that Perisic had when he first came to the league, what he could do. I mean, to be fair, he's looked decent at times. But to have just under 3 points a game, it's not great, really. I mean, 3 clean sheets in 16, that's pretty awful as well for Spurs. And we all expected a lot from Perisic when he first came. I mean, he scores goals for Croatia, but I'm surprised he's not scored a goal so far in the league for Spurs. Yes, 4 assists looks good, but he's on corners a lot, so you think he would have got more. You think the guy's unlucky really in front of goals this season alone, but I don't know. He's in here mostly because of the hype. We all expected a lot, and to only average so far just under 3 points a game, it's not great. So next up, I've gone for an Arsenal defender, which sounds shocking when you think about it. Why would I put an Arsenal defender in here when they're top of the league? Surely no Arsenal defenders or players, in fact, should be in this. That is true, they shouldn't be, and this is the only Arsenal player it is. But Kieran Tierney is in here because he used to be so good. And I think he is good still. A couple of years ago, he was Arsenal's best player, I'd say, or one of their best players. He's one of Scotland's best players. At the start of the season, I was thinking about bringing in my team, especially when they signed Zinchenko as well. I had in my draft both of them actually in there because I thought Zinchenko's going to come in, he's going to play CDM, and Kieran Tierney is going to play left wing back. So for a guy that couldn't get left wing back at Man City to come in here and take Tierney's spot and Tierney just can't get back in, it is surprising to be fair. I really thought that's how it was going to go. So that's why Kieran Tierney's in here because I generally thought he was going to start, and I'm sure most people thought he did, and I think Arsenal fans would probably agree. It is surprising that he can't get a game. And to be fair, Zinchenko has been good this season, but I think we all thought at the start of the season, Zinchenko CDM, Tierney's going to play left wing back because he's been great for Arsenal in the past. Yes, he's had injuries, but I don't think he's suffered with many injuries this season. Yes, it looks like he's played a lot of games here. I should really just put how many minutes, really. Because in those 14 games he's played, he's only started 3 games, which is really bad for him anyway. So he's only got the 1 clean sheet, and then it's 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. He's had a 0.3 drop. And considering I was thinking about putting him in my team at the start of the season, he's really fell off a cliff, really. Hopefully, he can pick it back up and get back in that team and smash it again. But for now, he's having a shocker. So my final defender is Andy Robertson of Liverpool. It might be a surprise to some people, it might not be to others because of Liverpool's poor start to the season. But I've gone for Andy Robertson because, yes, Liverpool have been poor this season. It's the 14 games he's played and the 2 clean sheets. That is big. I still feel that is really big. And especially when the price that you're buying, let's say Trent and Robertson, are 7.5 million. That's a lot of money to put in your team and to only get 2 clean sheets. It's not really good enough. Yes, he's got 4 assists, which is okay, but again, he's 7 million at the start of the game. You probably expect a little bit more still from him, and he has dropped to 6.8 now, so he's gone 0.2 down. So you've lost value in him. 43 points in total doesn't look too bad to be fair, but if you think of it, if you had somebody else in your team at the start, say a Castagna of Leicester, or Shaw of Newcastle, Ben Mee of Brentford, they're all low. They're like no more than 5 million. I think Shaw might be 5 million, is he?
But you got Castagna like 4.6 or something, Ben Mee like a 4.6. That is so much cheaper, and they've scored more points than Andy Robertson. So that's why Andy Robertson's in this team, because clearly, for his price range, it's just not been good enough, and it's really affected people who have had him from the start.
Onto my midfield now, and if I'm being honest, when it's coming to midfielders, I have really found it quite easy to pick these midfielders who have just not performed this season. There have been so many bad ones, but there's some that have really been highlighted. And obviously, the first one, it's got to be Son, Spurs. He has been dreadful this season, and I don't know if it's the manager, Conte, the way he's playing him, but he's just been awful. I mean, he didn't really have a great World Cup either, if I'm being honest. But yeah, he has been absolutely awful this season. He's only played 14 games. He's been injured the last 2 games of the season. He was. He scored 3 goals, but all 3 of those goals were against Leicester. So that's 1 game where he's scored this season. It's not good enough, really. Out of 16 games for Son, 53 points looks very pleasing, to be fair, but 19 points then were in the Leicester game. So you take 19 points off that, that's 34 points this season. Bearing in mind how much he costs as well. What was he? 11, 12 million at the start of the game. That's terrible, man. Absolutely terrible. He's gone down to 11.6 now, so he's had a big drop of 0.4. 4 assists. The 4 assists aren't great either, if I'm being honest, but compared to what he's been doing with Kane, him and Kane constantly linking up, scoring goals, getting assists, to only have that, and the clean sheets aren't relevant for midfielders really. But yeah, that so far he's been shocking this season, and even when the Premier League starts up again on Boxing Day, I don't imagine many people are going to be fighting to get him in their team. Riyad Mahrez is up next. Now, Man City, they're a great team. They play great football. You'd think none of their players will surely be in this, but you can't ignore how bad Mahrez has been this season. He's fallen off a cliff, it looks like. He's probably been one of Man City's best players. Not the best, but one of them for the last 3 seasons. And this season, he's just gone so far downhill. It's unbelievable. He's played 9 games, and I think only like 3 of them he's probably started. His last goal was against Southampton in game week 10, and since then he's only played 1 game, and that was the Brighton game. And even then, he only got a yellow card, so he's only earned 1 point since then. So 22 points in total for a guy that cost 8 million at the start of the game. And people were thinking, oh, he is a rotational risk, but Pep will always put him in. Always put him in. He's not putting him in. He's barely ever putting him in now at all. And even when he was in your team, you go, well, he's going to be on penalties if Man City get a penalty. Well, even then, he's lost that because they got Haaland, so he doesn't take penalties either. So you might be lucky if he gets a free kick here and there. But even then, he's only playing like 20 minutes a game as well. It's really bad. Only 1 goal, 1 assist this season. He's dropped massively in price now to 7.5. It's a 0.5 drop. And even at 7.5 mil, you wouldn't want him in your team because he just doesn't do anything. He doesn't come on the pitch. And I really do think this is Mahrez' last season now at Man City. So there's no way he's going to continue to sit on that bench. So Philip Coutinho's up here next. Now, we all remember Coutinho, how good he was at Liverpool. Didn't do great at Barcelona, but he still did a few things. Won the Champions League at Bayern Munich. He's ended up at Aston Villa. He did really well, to be fair to him, last season. So you think at the start of the season, ooh, 7 million, let's put him in our team. Well, it's really not worked out this season at all. He is by far, and he's not going to like this, because none of these players would have wanted this, he's the worst player in this list. He's performed the worst out of all of them. Forget Robin Olsen, the keeper. He's only played 1 game. But this guy, he's played 13 games. Bear in mind, he score goals, get assists all the time. He's got no goals and no assists. He's done nothing for Aston Villa. He did nothing for Gerrard, so Gerrard got the sack. Terrible. 18 points in total. He's only dropped 0.4 mil as well. So he's still quite high up, really, in terms of price. I mean, he's playing at a 4.5 million pound midfielder. And even then, those guys are outperforming him. 18 points is not even 2 points a game for how many games he's played. It's shocking. He's by far been the worst player. I don't think he's going to be at Aston Villa
another season really. I think they'll get rid of him now because that is shocking. He has been injured the last 2 game weeks before the World Cup, but he really needs to turn it around because he has had a shocking season. This is by far the worst. This is much worse than when he was at Barcelona. So really, he needs to put his finger out and start doing something for Villa. Bruno Fernandes is up here next. Now, some people might not agree with this, but I don't see how you can't agree with this, to be honest. This guy, I mean, in the past, he was awesome with the Man United, and 48 points in total doesn't look really too bad. But, I mean, we were saying about Trent and Robertson, how well they're doing, and Perisic, they're all scored similar to Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes cost 10 million at the start of this FPL season. 10 million. Now, if I'm spending 10 million on a player, I don't want 2 goals and 2 assists and then that's it. That is shocking from Bruno. Now, it's always been said that when Ronaldo comes back to United, Bruno was never going to really. He was always going to hide in the shadow, and he really has been. Now Ronaldo's gone. Maybe Bruno can turn it around. I mean, he has to turn it around. If you're paying £10 million for a midfielder in your team and he's doing that, that is not good enough. He really needs to change. Obviously, Man United have got really good fixtures when they come back, so hopefully, for Bruno's sake, he can really turn it around. I do think he'll turn it around personally, but for now, because this is all about the start of the season, how bad it's been, I definitely think he deserves to be in here because for the price he has dropped down in price, but to get just 2 goals and 2 assists for an attacking midfielder at Man United, it's just not good enough. So that's why Bruno Fernandes is in here. So Jesse Lingard is my final midfielder in here. Now, unfortunately for him, he's really only in here because of how well he did on loan at West Ham a couple of seasons ago. If he never did that and he just went to Forest, nobody else, would, including myself, would batter an eyelid at how bad he's doing. But that's not the case. He did do really well. I think he's Forest's highest paid player as well. Don't quote me on that, but I know he's paid pretty well there. So you're expecting a lot from him this season. Obviously, West Ham and Forest are on different levels, so not going to get the ball as much as West Ham did, but still, 14 games he's had for Forest. He's not scored a single goal yet, in the league that is, and he's only produced 1 assist for his teammates. And even that 1 assist was in game week 2 against West Ham, ironically enough. He's had such a huge price drop. He's gone from 6 million to 5.4. That's a big drop. And now when you look at doing your team and you want to put a Forest midfielder in, you're not looking at Jesse Lingard. You're looking at Morgan Gibbs-White because he's the one who's scoring goals, getting assists. And he's only 0.1 more expensive than Jesse Lingard now, 5.5. So you go for him instead of Lingard. So he's completely gone in the bin now. And the guy's in and out of the team at Forest. Understandable considering how many players they signed, but still, when you're paid so highly, you expect him to start every game. It's not happening. He's struggling this season badly. 29 points in total. It's pretty shocking. He's averaging just over 2 points a game. That's not what we expected at the start of the season. And for that, that's why I've put Jesse Lingard in here. On to my strikers now. Now this is probably the hardest one of them all. The other two are easy. Darwin Núñez. Now, I could have had Vardy, Calvert-Lewin or Kai Havertz in there. Either one of those should be in there. Or could have been in there. But I've gone for Núñez. Now, look, goal every other game doesn't look too bad. But that doesn't really explain how he's got on this season. He's been playing more like a donkey than anything. When he joined Liverpool after being in a bidding war with Man United, you're thinking big things. Guys smashed it in Benfica. Usually when you smash it in Benfica, you seem to do pretty alright wherever else you go after. This guy, I don't know, you watch him and you just go, ooh, really? Even in the World Cup it was shocking. So, will he recover? Will he smash it in the second half season? He might do. But the way Liverpool are playing, they seem to be so focused on getting that ball to him, it's not working out for him. They need to really stop. Maybe it's because of his height. You want to get the cross in, see if he heads it in. But there's just something about him where you just think, oh God. I don't think he fits at Liverpool, personally. I don't think it works out. I think he should probably leave and they should go for somebody similar to Mane. But I'm sure Liverpool will stick out because they've paid a lot of money for him, and this is probably one of the biggest reasons why he's here. He costs so much money. He's 9 million in the game, and he's just it's not really working. It doesn't feel like it's working. I mean, 44 points is not really a bad return if you think about it. But when you look at obviously Haaland, I mean, a bit of a harsh comparison, but Haaland's got 123 points this season. Nunes has got 44. Harry Kane's got 102. Tony's got 80 something. What was it? 83? Nearly double what Nunes has got. Solanke's even got more. Solanke has scored more points than Nunes. So when you think of it like that, and how much Liverpool played for him, this is the Liverpool Football Club, and he's not scored more points than him. Jay Adams has scored more points than him. Even Danny Ings, who left Liverpool a few seasons ago, scored more for him. Ollie Watkins is somebody who I think has had a terrible season as well, has scored more points than him. So when you think of it like that, yes, he's got a goal every other game, but he's only played 10 games. It's just not good enough, and that's why Nunes is here. Next up is somebody I thought will never be in a video anything like this. Ronaldo, one of the best players to have ever lived. Great season at Man United last season. Coming into this season, pre-season was a bit weird. You know, there was rumours that he was going to leave. The United manager said he wanted him, but then he didn't play him. Ronaldo goes home early against Spurs. He went home early at half time in pre-season. Obviously, the interview now he has officially left United. It's been a horrible end to his United career, but even when he was on that pitch, he played 10 games. United obviously didn't start all 10 games, but he only got that one goal. And when he was playing, I don't think Ronaldo realised it's a team game. I think his head was completely gone. It's been gone for a few years, really, but in terms of team games. He gets the ball, he just wants to shoot all the time and get the goal. I don't think he realised if he passed the ball more, maybe Ten Hag might have gone, oh, he's passing it more, maybe I'll play him a bit more. But as soon as he gets that ball, he just wants to shoot and score, which obviously is a striker's thing, but no, it wasn't working. So he didn't adapt to the play. He has now left United. He's no longer in the game, unless he goes to another Premier League team, which I can't see. It was a sad end. He had a poor 10 games for United. Apart from that, was the Everton game? He did well, and he had a price drop before he's gone. 20 points. 20 points in 10 games for Ronaldo. That's not Ronaldo we know from the past. So yeah, he had an awful, awful season before he left. He didn't do great in the World Cup either, to be fair. Hopefully he can turn it around, go to a big club and smash it again. But yeah, it was a horrible end for Ronaldo. Obviously he had to be in here because he was expensive. 10.5. It's a lot of money, and to only get one goal, it's not good enough. So my final pick is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. This is the last person in this video. It might be harsh because he's only played 6 games. He came in late into the league, and he has got a goal, but it's just one goal. But anybody who's watched Aubameyang for Chelsea since he's joined will see this is not the Barcelona Aubameyang. This is the guy who's at the end of his Arsenal career, just not doing it. It's the same guy. He just seems to have his head down all the time. I don't think he wants to go to Chelsea, to be honest. I don't think he wants to leave Barcelona, so I think he's still a bit annoyed. People will say, yeah, he's only played 6 games, but he's already got a drop of 0.3 as well, so clearly everybody else is noticing he just doesn't want to do it. And I don't think Potter wants him, really. He's not the striker Potter would sign, I think. I don't think he'll be at Chelsea next season either. I think he'll go. I think he's going to be one season gone. Cause he's not doing anything. He doesn't work for the team. He's just, the only way he'll score is if the Chelsea work it into the box, into the 6-yard box, and he'll tap it in. Cause I just don't see him doing anything. He just looks lazy. He always looks like when he's coming off, he could have done more. He's always got his head down, which is not a good sign. So yeah, yes, he's only played 6 games, but I don't see this one working out. So that's why I've put him in here. So this is what the squad looks as a whole. I mean, it looks nice if you don't look to the right side. That team gets you 108.5 million team value, so you can't afford it, thankfully. Now that does include Ronaldo's 10.2, because obviously he's not in the game. But yeah, that does include that. And no, that is not a formation. That is generally the points scored by these players. 442. Wow. That is shocking. That's got to be in your... Out of the 10 million players, it's got to be a 9 to 10 million bracket. So, absolutely shocking. These players, a lot of them can turn around. Will they? We're yet to see. I mean, there is a couple of players in this that I am considering putting in my team, which seems mental. But these players are good enough to turn around. Will they be able to? We'll have to wait and see. So this team I've put up here, this team isn't the highest scoring team as you can have. Well, no, you can. This is the highest scoring team you can have that you can afford. But I mean, if you clicked on all the highest scoring players, so obviously you got Salah, De Bruyne. It would cost too much. So I thought I'd do a team that you could afford. So not another 108.5 million, whatever the other one was. This is just over 100 million. So most people can afford this team. And to think this team has got 1,218 points in them. Obviously, nobody's got this team because this would be number one by like 130 points, something like that. So thankfully, nobody's got this team. But if you look at that, there's not one premium midfielder, not one premium defender. It is insane. Yes, you got two premium strikers. That is absolutely insane. And the points difference is 776. Yeah, that other team, you had Son, Ronaldo, Darwin Núñez, Trent and Robertson. Wow, big difference. It just goes to show you it's not always about premium players. Because obviously we've got here two Leicester, a Brighton, a Leeds, and three Newcastle. Who would have thought at the start of the season they would have this many points in total? And that's it for this video. Now I know this video is a bit long, but I do hope you enjoyed it. So please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one.